You ready to get started building a personal brand online and you also want to monetize it? I completely understand that, because there's one thing that we know is happening today is some of us don't want to work anymore, and some of us want to work and we want to make a whole lot of money with both of the things. And so today I'm going to talk to you all about how to build a 6-figure personal brand online with an easy step-by-step way to do it so you can get started right now. And by the end of the year, you'll be amazed at what happens. So welcome back to another episode of the If You Create It podcast, where I'm teaching you all things about being a content creator, being an online business person, and being able to make money online, which is the most important part, if I may say so myself. Today, we're having a conversation about building a personal online brand, and I'm going to give you all the goods because, when I first got started building my personal brand, I wish I knew the things that I know now, but I didn't, and I honestly didn't know where to get them, so I had to do like a hodgepodge of things. I had to work with a bunch of different people in order to really uncover what it was that it looked like for me as a personal brand and how to monetize it. And so we're going to skip a lot of steps. We're going to skip like 6 of the years that I spent trying to figure out some of the basic things. And in this video, we're going to get you all the way there with all that. Okay. So, but I already know that you are having this conversation with yourself as you're watching this or listening, and you're saying, but what really is a personal brand? Okay. I know you're asking that question. So what we're going to do is I'm going to actually pull up on Google. We love using Google. I'm going to go in and type in Google, and I'm going to ask Google, what is a personal brand? And Google likes to use their AI. So I Googled it, and Google says a personal brand is the consistent and widely recognized perception or impression of an individual based on their experience, expertise, and actions within a community, industry, or marketplace. It's about defining and promoting what you stand for as an individual. So it also gave a more detailed breakdown. I'm not going to read all that because I have my notes, but it has here, it says, what is it? It's not just about your name. It encompasses your skills, values, and how others perceive you. A strong personal brand can help you stand out, build credibility, and open doors to opportunities. Now, here's an example that they gave. A celebrity leveraging their social status to support a cause, or a professional using their expertise to build a reputation in their field. So that is what a personal brand is. It's not just a person's name, okay? It is a person that's taken their status or what have you and lending it to a cause, or it is a person establishing who they are, who they want to be, who they want to serve as an expert, and then building upon that. Okay. So Halle Berry is a personal brand. We know Halle Berry as an actress. Okay. But Halle Berry is also taking her status right now, and she is lending it to the medical field to help understand what is happening with women's health, what's happening with menopause, and things of that nature. Okay. I am a personal brand. I do not have the status of a Halle Berry, but I use my expertise and all my years in sales and marketing and all the different industries I've been in to build an audience online, build a community, communicate with that community, serve that community, and it builds a trust and so on, so that I can serve you with building an online brand or just making money on social media. So when you are considering building a personal brand, one of the things you want to say to yourself is that, first of all, what is my name going to be? Okay. Now, obviously, you know my name as Keenya Kelly, but my name is actually Keenya Kelly Griffin. Okay. But I chose Keenya Kelly to be my personal brand name. Okay. Like Jamie Foxx, he's a singer and actor, but that's not even his real name. Okay. John Legend is a singer, but that's not his real name. His real name is not John Legend. It's not Jamie Foxx, but they have chosen a certain name. And so for you, I want you to determine if you're going to build this personal brand, or as you are building this personal brand, what do you want people to call you? Okay. Because when you continue doing what you're doing and you implement what I'm going to teach you today, people are going to be calling you something, right? So I like to, anytime I used to coach women on building their personal brands, I would always say, hey, if it's your desire to get married, and if it's your desire to take your spouse's last name, you might want to consider not branding your whole name. And they were like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, if it's your intention to get married, if it's your intention to take your person's last name, then if you build a personal brand with your full name and then you get married, at some point in time, you're going to realize, oh man, now my name is no longer this, it's this, and you're having some trouble with determining what your brand name is going to be. So if that is a thing for you and you plan on getting married, you plan on taking your spouse's last name, Think about that. That was my case. My last name is Griffin, and I knew that I wanted to build a personal brand, and I wanted to get married, and I want to take my spouse's last name. And so I decided that I was going to call myself by my middle name. My middle name is Kelly. So I go by Keenya Kelly for that reason. But legally, my name is Keenya Kelly Griffin. Okay. So I want you to kind of think about that when you are considering your brand, your personal brand, and what that's going to look like. So we're going to go ahead and talk about 8 different things that you need to know when it comes to building a personal brand and building a personal brand that makes a ton of money. Okay. So if you want to take notes, this is the time when you definitely want to start taking notes, but it's also going to be easy because there's a key down here at the bottom at the timestamps for you to be able to follow that. But also if you have any questions as you are watching or listening, if you're listening to this, come on YouTube and you can ask questions. If you're watching on YouTube, you can just ask me in the comment section and I'll be sure to comment back to you. But also don't forget, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube. That way you're alerted every time we have a new audio episode of the podcast or video episode here on YouTube. One of the first things you want to do is you want to define your core values. Okay. So when you talk about building a personal brand, your personal brand has specific core values. This is who you are. This is who you stand for. And this is who you're going to tell the world that you are. Okay. Now, Keenya, there are so many different layers to Keenya as a person, but the personal brand Keenya has very specific core values. So when people come in contact with me, in contact with my brand and the community that I'm creating, they have a clear understanding of what are some of Kenya's core values. So one of Kenya's core values is work-life balance. I truly believe that you can work and you can have a life. I don't feel like you have to work so much that you never have a life. I don't feel like if you have kids that you have to neglect your kids for your work, that you have to neglect your spouse or your significant other for work, or that you have to neglect yourself or traveling or eating well to work. I don't believe in that whatsoever. Okay. I believe in having work-life balance. And when you come in contact with me and come in contact with my brand, if I'm coaching you, you are going to experience me trying to get you to get some balance between your work and with your life. Okay. And so because of that, I put that out into the world in terms of this is one of my core values. One of my second core values is I value creativity and innovation. Okay. I value the fact that this is how the world is right now in 2025, but I value the creativity of things changing this year, things changing next year, or me evolving as a person or my company evolving as a business. I have great value in that, in creativity and innovation. And so I am always trying to get members of my team to be creative and think outside the box and bring me creative and innovative things. So that way we are always on the cusp of things that are creative and innovative. And so for you, you want to ask yourself, what are some of your core values? Ask yourself the question, like, what do you stand for? What are some of your beliefs? What are some of your core beliefs? And ask yourself this question: when you identify these core beliefs and these passions, do these align with the personal brand? Okay. For example, Johnson & Johnson, we know them for baby powder, baby products, and all the type of stuff, but we don't really know is who owns Johnson & Johnson's. Okay. So Johnson & Johnson is more of a corporate brand, and then the owner is whomever that they are. Okay. Typically, when you're a corporate brand and you're a personal, the two don't necessarily have to agree. Okay. They just don't have to agree. So Keenya Kelly, the personal brand, will talk about her relationship with Jesus, God, and the Holy Spirit, right? But if you create it as a corporate brand, it doesn't necessarily, it's not religious. It's not like taking a stand on religion. It's not taking it because it's a corporate company, right? A person, I have a stand, I have a personal belief. And so ask yourself this question, like, what do you identify with? What do you want the world to believe and know? What do you want people to know that you stand behind? Okay. What do you want them to like, when they try to cross this particular boundary in your company or whatever, or with your clients, what is it you want them to know? Do you see what I mean? And you get to decide what that is. The world does not get to tell you what that is. I don't get to tell you what that is, but you want to try to identify 3 to 5 of those things that you personally stand behind. These are your core beliefs, core passions, core values. Then ask yourself, what is it that you want to be known for? When people are saying your name out there in the world, they're saying your company name out there in the world, what exactly do you want to be known for? Like, how do you want people to feel, right? So like this past week, I was speaking at some different conferences, and the way that I perceived people after I left them was they found me inspirational, very courageous. They found me bold, but they also found me to be very vulnerable and transparent. And I want to be known for someone who is boldly courageous, has big faith, but is also very human, is a very human being who knows what's going on with her, good and not so good, and can empathize and be connected to people in all the things that they are, all the complexities, all the awesomeness that they are. I really want to be known for that. And so I always try my best to come across with that. So when a person leaves me, no matter what they encountered with me, that they get all the things, the good and not so good, but at the core that they know exactly who I am and what I stand for. Then also determine your core values when it comes to partnerships, right? So there are certain things that, like, as I'm building my personal brand, companies may come to me and invite me to promote things. For example, I'm on my weight loss journey. I'm on a GLP-1 to help me with weight loss. And I've had a number of companies come to me over the last couple of weeks to get me to promote their pharmacies, their products, their programs, all this stuff. And many of them, first of all, they want to pay me chump change. So it's like, that's a no-go because they don't really know that I know what I should be getting paid, right? But then two, they want me to say that I'm using their products for my weight loss, and I'm not. That they're coaching me, and I'm not. And I said to them, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to do this with you. One, you're not offering enough. And then on top of that, the more importantly, I'm not actually using you. And so I don't want to tell people that I'm using you and I'm not. That goes against my core values, because that's lying. And I'm not going to lie and manipulate people to buy from you to get your chump change, or even if it was a lot of money, because that's just not a part of my core value, right? So you want to identify and understand what that is for you. The second thing you want to do to build your personal brand is you want to cultivate your authentic energy. Ask yourself the question, how do you want people to feel when they encounter your brand, right? So for me, I am fairly high energy. I'm not like bouncing off the wall, but I'm fairly high energy. When you come into my sphere, my videos, you feel inspired, you feel energized. You don't necessarily feel super calm because my personality is not like that. So I want people to feel energized and inspired and creative when they encounter me, right? So when they're watching my videos, whether it's YouTube or it's short videos, I want them to feel inspired. I want them to feel light. I want them to feel fun, right? I want them to feel like here is a place where I can be myself, I can learn, I can innovate, and I can create with this particular person. I don't want them to feel super relaxed because that's just not me and my personality. Because when you meet me in person, the same way you're meeting me right here in this video is the same person you're going to meet in person, right? So people saw me on stage at an event this week and they said, "Girl, you are crazy." I was like, "Well, I'm the same online as I am on stage in person." And they were like, "You're exactly right." I mean, granted, on stage it's a little bit more dramatic because you got a microphone and you're running the whole room or whatever, but it's the same. Like, I met some folks that said, "I've been following you online for a long time and you are exactly the same in person as you are online." And I value that, right? I wanted people to connect with me online because they like me and how I am. And then that way, when they meet me in person, it's still the same. Number 3, you want to establish a memorable visual identity. So a lot of times when people think about branding, that's all they think about is what is everything going to look like. And the look and feel of a thing is great, but it's not everything. It's just the look and feel of a thing, okay? So when you are trying to establish your brand's identity, your visual identity, you got to determine what is this going to look like, okay? You do have to determine your name, of course. You've got to determine your logo design. You've got to determine your colors, determine your fonts, and how everything shows up. So for this podcast, if you create it, when I thought about the colors for the podcast, I said I want it to be an extension of the Keenya Kelly brand because it is an extension of the Keenya Kelly brand. I want it to feel creative, innovative. I want to attract people who are into creativity, are into the creator world, the content creators, influencers, business, online marketing. They're into all that. And so we were choosing from some different colors, right, that go in my brand. We have yellow, pink, purple, and green. And then as I was choosing the one, I said, which one makes me feel more creative? Which one feels more inviting? Which one feels like I can bring on lots of different creative people onto a show and they all fit, right? But in addition to that, when I was thinking about the fonts, I said to myself, even though majority of my audience is women, I don't necessarily want to use script fonts. Same thing goes for you. You want to ask yourself the question, when people see the brand, okay, whether it's the color, what do you want them to feel? What do you want them to experience? When you are choosing the fonts for your brand, you got to ask yourself, okay, when this shows up online, is this font going to be good for my website, as well as for my t-shirt, as well as for merch, as well as for stickers? Or is this going to kind of show up kind of weirdly? Like, what does that really look like? Does that make sense? And so you want to ask yourself that question of like, what do you want the visuals to look like for your brand? Now, when I was first building my brand, I didn't know. And so I always encourage my clients when we used to do brand design is I said, okay, I want you to go and find the top 10 people in your field that do what you do. And I want you to look at their brands and tell me what you love about each brand and what you don't love. Then go and find people who are not in your industry, but you love how their brand shows up. And I want you to tell me what you love about their brands and what you don't like. Then I want you to try to combine all of them and go, okay, if I had a perfect color scheme, this is what it would be. If I had a perfect font, this is what it would be. And we're just helping them to kind of narrow things down. Nothing's final. And what they started to realize was there were some themes in color palettes for a certain industry. There was a theme in fonts. There was a theme in feelings. And they started to really understand what the brand looks like for a therapist, what it looks like for an auto body shop, what it looks like for jewelry, right? And then they started to understand the value of having fonts that are readable, right? Because it's not enough to have script font on your website if nobody can read it. But they really started to understand it as they were going through that process. And so I want you to take yourself through that process so you can really get an understanding of what it is you are looking for when you're building your personal brand. The fourth thing I want you to do is I want you to develop a distinctive brand voice. So when we talk about brand voice, what we're considering is what is the tone? When people are reading and listening, what do you want them to feel? Again, my brand is creative and innovative, right? But it doesn't feel harsh, right? Like I've encountered people's brands where they are just direct. And honestly, I think they're kind of rude. Like some people are not all rude, but some of them are just really rude, right? And you got to determine what is the tone of your brand. Like when people are encountering those colors and those fonts and you and what you're saying about your brand, what is the tone? How do you want people to perceive you and the brand when they encounter it, right? So I've been developing this new community here in Houston called HTX Social Club, right? And the tone of the community is friendly. It's safe. It's vulnerable because I want people who have never met people in Houston because they work from home or just moved here to feel safe about coming to one of our events and having a good time and making friends. So when I am talking in the community, when I'm writing things, when I am sending voice memos, when I'm doing all of what it is that I'm doing, the goal of it is to feel fun and safe. Fun, safe, and vulnerable because I want people to feel safe because they're being vulnerable coming outside to meet people that they never have met before a day in their life, right? So what is the tone that you want people to experience when it comes to your brand? Now let's get into the good stuff on how you can actually make the money in your brand. So the fifth thing that you want to do to build a personal brand, a profitable personal brand is create value-driven content. Now, what does that mean? Now that you've got a brand name, you got logo, fonts, and all that type of stuff, now you got to build the online brand. Okay. And so what is the number one way you can build an online brand is creating value-driven content. Okay. Creating value-driven content and whatever that looks like to you. Why? Right now, no one knows that you exist. No one knows what it is that you know. So you have got to put yourself out there and share what it is that you know in the way that makes sense for your brand. So when I first got started in 2016, I wanted to build a personal brand, but I was working corporate and I had done many years in network marketing. Nobody knew what I knew. Nobody knew that I existed. So I started every single day doing this thing I call the Keenya Kelly Morning Show, where I would share about a topic. I would choose a topic, I would have bullet points, and I would go live and I would talk about this specific topic, okay? What started to happen was people started to realize what was in here, and I put it out there. And people then started to share that content to other people that brought people that I did not know to my actual content. And then over and over and over time, the more that I kept sharing value-driven content, the more people were aware of who I was, what I knew. So then when it was time for me to actually start to monetize, I already had a community of people who had become aware of me, aware of what I knew, aware of how I could help them. So when I went to go and sell the thing that I was selling, I already had people to sell it to. So as you're building this personal brand online, you are going to have to build an audience, okay? And one of the fastest ways to build an audience, if you're going to do it organically, is creating value-driven content, whether that is here on YouTube or it's on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, Twitter, or any other platform you want to use. You want to create value-driven content that is going to cause people to be aware, okay? Be aware of who you are in your sphere and can be a part of your community. The sixth thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and build authority and trust. Now, this is going to go along with that value-driven content, okay? Because as you're coming out online and you're teaching people about who you are and what you know, over time, people are going to start to believe you and trust you and look at you as a leader in the space, right? So everywhere that I go right now, people call me the TikTok queen. And it's because over the years of me learning TikTok, teaching TikTok, people started to associate me with the person that was going to teach people TikTok marketing. But then once people started actually having success working with me, it helped build trust. So not only am I an authority because of my experience and my marketing myself with value-driven content, but then my success and my client success have started to come together, and it's helping me to, when it's time to sell what it is that I sell, to be able to sell it with ease. And then the seventh thing you want to do is now you've got to monetize your audience, monetize for your business, okay? Because listen here, the last thing we want to be doing is just creating this brand, talking online, and we're not making any money. That's not the goal. We don't want to take advantage of people. We don't want to lie and manipulate people to get what we want, but we do want to make money, okay? Like if you want to make money, just say money in the comments, okay? If you're on the podcast, come say money to me on Instagram, okay? We want to make money. So now you've got to determine how it is that you want to make money. And there are so many ways to make money. One of the ways you can make money is I have a video here on YouTube. It's talking about digital products, and it's actually here where you can actually get that video. So you can actually click there and watch that video as I talk to you about digital products. And that's a really great way to start. So we recently launched a series of templates, like PDF templates that people could buy for $19. I have a mini course that teaches you how to create on TikTok. That's just $97. I have a very detailed course that teaches you vertical video success. I have a membership, and I have one-on-one calls, so on and so on and so on. So right now, the ways that I make money, I'll tell you, is I do one-on-one, okay, just a one-time call. 2, I may do long-term one-on-one. 3, I may have a course that is automated. 4, I have templates. 5, I have a group coaching program. 6, I get paid from brands to create content, promoting them. 7, I get paid to speak. And then at 8, I get paid through affiliates, right? When people buy software that I use and promote, I get paid that way. And then 9, I get paid from different softwares that I actually just, if someone buys that software or what have you, then I'm getting paid over and over and over again from the software that I have sold. Okay. 9 different ways that I have monetized. And guess what? You can do the exact same, because you're building a personal brand. There's certain things that are associated with you. Okay. So I'm on my weight loss journey. I could monetize by working with a company that I actually work with, right? I could monetize by, promoting, different types of shakes or whatever that people should drink that have protein in them or what have you, right? I can also monetize my outfits as I speak on stage, okay? There's so many things you can do to monetize, but I don't recommend you do them all, okay? I've been doing what I've been doing for 9 years, so I have a lot of experience, and so I've been doing this for forever. But you can get started right now and just choose one. You can choose just digital download templates, or you can choose consulting, or you can create a digital course, whatever it is you want to do, but you definitely want to build a personal brand and monetize it. And then the last and final thing, the 8th thing that you want to do is that you want to build a loyal community. Okay. You want to build a loyal community. And the easiest ways to build a loyal community is exactly everything I've said here, is identifying your brand's core values, sharing what those are. Okay. It is determining the tone of your brand, how your brand's going to look and feel, creating value-driven content, and then engaging with that audience. Okay. Because the best thing you can do if you are talking online and creating content online is to actually engage with those people. Okay. So I'm headed to San Diego in a week. And before I go to San Diego, I'll post on social media and says, hey, who do I know is in San Diego? I would love to have a little dinner on Saturday night and connect with you over dinner. Why would I do that? To connect with my community. Yes, I'm going to connect with people at the conference, right? But then the final night that I'm there, I will say again, who's in San Diego? I would love to connect and have dinner. And that's a way where I can connect with the community that I've already been building. And when I was on the road a lot, like last year, every time I went to a city, I said, who wants to have dinner? And I kept having these little dinners with people that were in my community that I normally could not have met up with because I wasn't in their city. And it's a really great way to do it. But you can get on Zoom calls with your community. You can do live streams and just talk with them on live stream. You can bring them on stream with you sometime and just really get to know them, and not just be someone that they see online, but they actually become someone that, you see them online. So they see you, but you see them. You remember things about them. You highlight things about them. You are really involved in, your community's life. And that stuff, like it does so much, okay, for you, for the community, and for your business and your personal brand. Okay. So that's it for this. There's a lot that I talked about here in this video. And so again, all the bullet points are here at the bottom at the timestamps, but I guarantee you can build a personal, profitable brand right now and be amazed at what could happen by the end of the year. But you do have to follow these steps. No one gets away from them. You do have to follow these steps, because if you make a bunch of money now, that's great, but you want to have sustainable money. You want to have a loyalty. You want to have authority and trust. So that way, no matter what it is you're selling, that you're always making money. Okay. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please let me know here on YouTube. If you enjoyed this on the podcast, come and let me know on Instagram. I always want to know, and make sure you write a review. So thank you so much for listening and watching.